It is August 8th, 2018. This is the Wrestling Inc. podcast. I'm Glenn Rubenstein, joined by Raj Giri. And yeah, SmackDown Live, man. One more week to go until SummerSlam, the biggest show of the summer. And is it feeling real to you, Raj? SummerSlam?
No, I thought SmackDown was kind of a letdown last night. I mean, it wasn't, again, this is one of those things where being 2 hours helps a lot. If that show was 3 hours and it continued with that kind of stuff, I thought it would have been a really bad, not bad, but just a really boring show. Even at 2 hours, I didn't think it was that great. And it definitely not for being a week and a half away from SummerSlam.
Yeah. I didn't think it was bad, but I'm going to say this, and I can't remember the last time I thought this. That dragged. That really felt like a long SmackDown last night.
Yeah. I mean, I thought the main event was good, but do I care enough at this point about the New Day and the Bar to spend 35 minutes, It
was long.
Yeah. I mean, it was a good match, but not much of a build-up, and to spend that much time for something that, might be on the pre-show.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Yeah. You think it's going to get made into a triple threat?
I don't think so. I mean, I guess they could. They like to, there's a lot of wrestlers that don't have a spot right now on the SummerSlam card. So, yeah. But I guess they'd have to have a good reason for that. And they got beat clean. The Bar did. So,
yeah. But it's just, why else bring the Bar back? I mean, from exile, right? The Bar wasn't on TV for months. You put them in this tournament. You have them put on, these incredible matches, and then they lose, and that's it.
Maybe that's just that's the slot they have for them. Because who are the other tag teams on SmackDown right now?
Road Warriors. No.
Right.
Sanity. Sanity's still a thing.
Sanity, but they were in the tournament as well. So
yeah,
I guess just to get another team in, but. Yeah, I was surprised. I kind of assumed it would be the Bar, even though they don't like to do heel versus heel, and that dynamic I thought would be a little weird with the Bar and the Bludgeon Brothers, but it was at least something different. But no, they went with the New Day, and I'm sure the New Day would get a good reaction, and I personally hope the New Day win, even though I find the New Day pretty stale. But I still find their act better than the Bludgeon Brothers. But one of the, Big E desperately needs to move on to a singles run.
Yeah, and Harper last night kind of talking in his own voice for the beginning of that promo.
Yeah, it kind of threw me off a little bit too. Their promos are just way too scripted and telegraphed for me. That I don't know. That team just isn't doing it for me. I prefer, I think the Bar, the Usos, and the New Day are such great, talented tag teams, and the Bludgeon Brothers are in the ring, but their gimmick just kind of kills it.
Yeah. Did you watch Table for Three this week?
I did not. Was that good?
Nia Jax, Natalya, and Beth Phoenix. One thing that was interesting is they were talking, Natalya specifically, about the difference between Raw and SmackDown. And Nia's talking about Raw's this high pressure situation and SmackDown's so laid back.
That's probably going to change once they move to Fox.
Yeah. I just thought that was interesting. Because SmackDown feels like that most weeks. Last night did not feel that way. Last night felt like they were trying to cram in a lot, and it just dragged, though, strangely, even with more stuff.
There were quite a few things I found that were good on it, but with all the mediocrity, it kind of brought it down.
Yeah, so Randy Orton opened the show last night, coming out, cutting a pretty long promo, putting Randy front and center, talking about attacking Jeff Hardy. So this is going to be a triple threat, right?
You would think so. I mean, he's kind of been involved in all their angles. Maybe they're saving it for next week. I would assume. I haven't seen any leaked ads or anything, having Orton in that match. But I'm just, with the way they're building it, I would guess so.
Yeah. I thought the promo was okay. This is a better angle for Randy than he's had in quite some time. Some motivation. But at the same time, I don't know, did this promo do anything for you?
I thought Orton was really good here. I think he's very natural, but it's kind of to what I talked about, what we talked about a couple weeks ago, where I prefer it to be something more personal with him and Jeff, as opposed to he's just mad at the fans and is attacking their favorites. I think having something that Jeff did during his time off, like maybe finding out that Jeff got his US title shot when it was supposed to go to him, something that made it personal between the two of them, as opposed to I'm just mad at the fans because they don't respect me. It seems Orton would be too big to really care about that at this stage. But that being said, I thought Orton is on fire as a heel. I think he comes across as a main event guy, whereas he seemed more underneath before that. For the last couple of years.
He seems more engaged than he has in quite some time.
Yeah, he seems motivated. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm curious how this match is going to go. I think it'll be good. But, man, what a mix of eras to have Randy Orton, Jeff Hardy, and Shinsuke Nakamura together in the ring for a U.S. title.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it'll be good. But, I want to see a little bit more with this. And you know what I don't like is I don't like Jeff Hardy being so passive in this feud.
Yeah, he's kind of done nothing. You would think after that ear thing that he would be a little more aggressive.
Yeah.
But it's weird also to build that feud if that's not the SummerSlam match. Assuming Orton doesn't get added into the triple threat, if it really is Hardy and Nakamura, then it's kind of weird to have this on the side. So you got to think they're adding Orton.
Yeah. No, it has to make sense. I mean, it just makes too much sense. Speaking of triple threats, we are going to have Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, and Carmella for the Women's Championship at SummerSlam. In advance of that last night, we had the Iconics versus Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch with Carmella on commentary. Backstage, Becky and Charlotte getting a bit of development in this story, talking about going against each other as part of that triple threat at SummerSlam, taking shots at Sasha Banks and Bayley, which I loved.
Yeah.
And then having this tag match.
Yeah, I mean, this is with the women's division. This is about as much of a jobbers match as you could have, right? Like a squash match in a sense, and that the Iconics never win. The fans don't care about them. They got boring chants for their promos.
Oh my God,
boring chants.
That was crazy last night that they were getting those chants.
Yeah, they're reminding more and more of Jillian Hall, and Jillian Hall did her act well, but it's not main event heat, and it's just the kind that you just find kind of corny, campy, whatever. And I just feel like that's where they're at. It's not looking good for them right now.
No, I mean that was just downright bad last night because they haven't been used a lot, and then to get that kind of response.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, that being said, I do like that Charlotte was added to that match because I think I've said it before with Alexa too. I just feel like they're kind of bringing down the women's division to be taken seriously. You need someone on top that can be taken seriously. What I'd like to see, and so I think adding Charlotte, at least Charlotte and Becky can have a good match. I don't think Becky and Carmella would have anything special. I'm nervous that they're going to have Carmella win anyway. I'd like to see Charlotte win it and Becky just finally snap and turn on Charlotte and beat her down. So we'll see. But I think it's the right move to make it a triple threat. Just, for that reason, I think it'll make the match a lot better.
Christopher in the chat is predicting this, and I think Justin LeBar has as well. Do you think Asuka's going to get added and make it a fatal four-way at SummerSlam?
I mean, it would make the match even better.
Yeah,
but it seems weird for her to. I mean, how often does WWE necessarily make storyline sense? But the fact that she's been beaten her last couple times, then to get another shot seems odd. But I could see them doing that. It seems weird that she doesn't have a spot at all on the show. Yeah,
seriously. Chased off by Ellsworth.
But there's a lot of people that don't have a spot on the show. Sasha and Bayley right now don't.
Yeah. So, of course, Charlotte and Becky won that match. Charlotte with the figure eight on Peyton for the submission win, and then Charlotte and Becky hugging in the ring after their victory, standing tall. Good promo backstage with the New Day and Renee Young last night.
Yeah. I mean, the New Day, they're entertaining. I just feel like the act has gone on a long time. I'd like to see something different from them. But it was entertaining. It cracked Renee up.
Yeah.
Kofi was good here.
Okay. I mean, it's occurring to me, I'm like, why did the show seem so long? Because we had the Randy match, we had this match. So we had Randy in the ring opening the show, talking for an extended period of time. And then we had AJ Styles, like 2 segments later in the ring, talking for an extended period of time, answering Samoa Joe's promo from last week. I thought this got really real at one point from AJ. Did you feel that like AJ was trying to sort of keep in the zone and not break when he was doing that sort of shoulder thing after he was talking about his kids and not being there and his wife essentially being a single mom for the majority of their relationship?
You know, I thought AJ was really good here. I thought this was one of the better promos he's cut in a while.
Yeah.
This feud is not resonating with me. I mean, Styles and Joe, I think, can steal the show, obviously, but Joe bringing up his wife, it just seems so random with the family, especially when they're all pretty much on the same travel schedule. Yeah. And AJ's actually had less of the schedule the last couple months than Joe, than a lot of the other guys have. So the reason for the feud is not resonating with me. I keep forgetting that they're wrestling at SummerSlam. I feel like the big storyline's missing, but I thought AJ's delivery was great.
Yeah. You want to know what's funny about that? So last night I'm watching this promo at the beginning and I was like sorting my mail and they're talking about AJ versus Samoa Joe at SummerSlam. And I was like, what? I thought AJ was going against Rusev at SummerSlam. Like that's my mind has been that much on autopilot with the AJ Styles feuds.
Yeah. It's just been like an afterthought and it shouldn't be. And then I think part of the reason is just how they treat it. Like AJ's segments are usually at the beginning or the middle of the show. He's never on at the end. It's just, I don't know. It just feels like an afterthought and I wish it would be more, but again, I think AJ cut a great, one of the better promos that he's done. I thought Samoa Joe looked, he's got that weird shiner. It's like half of a shiner under his eye, which looks even more dangerous. It looks creepy, but yeah. So to your point about why the show felt so long, it was because like nothing happened.
Yeah.
You missed the show. And the only thing you missed is that, it's the New Day at SummerSlam. Other than that, it was kind of autopilot.
Yeah. Well, so last night, Aidan English apologizes to Rusev and Lana backstage in advance of Lana's match with Zelina Vega, her rematch. Of course, what happens? Lana versus Zelina Vega. Aidan English interferes somehow again, costing Lana the win. Are they breaking up Rusev Day?
Yeah. I think that's clear. I feel bad for Aidan in this. I don't think things are going to look good for him after they break up. I wouldn't do it yet. I feel like they're, with the three of them, they haven't really, because Lana was teasing something a few months ago and then they kind of split off again with just Aidan and Rusev. So with the three of them together, I'd give it more time to breathe and have them more as a threesome for a while before going with the breakup. I don't know. What do you think?
I feel like they've always got that in their back pocket with the breakup. Why pull the trigger on that now?
Yeah, unless the plan is for a big, push for Rusev.
Yeah,
which you still could do with Aidan. I just don't think it's needed yet. It doesn't feel like it's stale, yet. I think they haven't turned babyface yet officially. I guess. Well, with this Almas feud, I guess they're kind of the baby faces, so maybe that's the turn, but. Let them breathe a bit as a babyface unit before breaking them up.
Well, and I think they're still getting reactions, despite the bad booking. And I think Lana, I can't tell what she's doing differently. I don't know. She's wearing colored contacts. Is it her eye makeup? Her look is a little different and more intense. And if you notice, Graves putting her over with how much she's improved. I mean, I think there's something there. They just have to give her a little more of a storyline in this.
I guess, but what do you think of her match with Vega last week?
I thought it was okay. I mean, look, as far as Lana matches go, let me put it this way. I'm kind of watching them now as opposed to just kind of like, oh, please, God, let it end.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was one of the weakest women's matches in a while. And part of it was it went so long. It went like 2 segments.
It was a very long match.
Better, but there was not. They don't need to go this long with the two of them. My guess, and SummerSlam, we'll run through the card here after, but SummerSlam is, already got like 11 matches.
Yeah.
It seems like they're going for Rusev and Lana versus Zelina Vega and Andrade Cien Almas.
And that's great. I actually love that idea.
Yeah, but just with how many matches they already have on that show, my guess is it would be kept short. But
yeah. So Vega got the running knees to win that last night. Okay, this was the high point of last night. This storyline, R-Truth versus Shinsuke Nakamura. This promo backstage, I'd forgotten how great R-Truth could be in these segments. That the whole thing with Shinsuke last night about, challenging Carmella for a match to get the championship title, understanding Nakamura speaking Japanese. I think R-Truth came in last night looking, like an old familiar face, but a star nonetheless. And this is a guy that just, disappears now for 6 months at a time.
Yeah, I actually like Nakamura better in this segment. I like that he was more no nonsense. R-Truth, some people like it. I don't know. I've laughed at his stuff a few times in total. So.
Not the way you say it. You're talking about the way someone's like, yes, I'm aware of Larry the Cable Guy. Some of the jokes did indeed make me laugh, but it's Larry the Cable Guy.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? No, I thought the segment was good. It was surprising, right? Normally he'll just show up and then it won't lead to a match, or he'll just get his ass kicked.
It did last time too with Samoa Joe.
Since
he's bitten back.
But
he looks in great shape, by the way.
Absolutely.
That man does not age. He's fantastic shape.
So they set that match for later in the night, but before that, we had the Miz and Daniel Bryan, and this was really the Miz cutting a lengthy promo, and then Bryan coming in and beating the crap out of him, further hyping their match for SummerSlam. Is this living up to your expectations, this feud?
I hate being so negative on everything on this show. I really like the segment, but this match doesn't feel like near what it was a year ago. If you were to say Daniel Bryan's going to come back and face the Miz on a pay-per-view, right?
Oh, yeah. And it'll be almost 2 years to the day. I think it'll be 9 days short of that original Talking Smack showdown they had. Yeah,
I think the Miz's promo is great. I like Daniel Bryan attacking him. Miz laid him out again. Yeah. Daniel Bryan hasn't re-signed, so the Miz is getting the better of all these exchanges. And then if he beats him at SummerSlam, it really brings Daniel Bryan down a lot. Not only getting punked at every turn, but then losing. But if someone's not re-signing, you don't push him either. So I get it.
Yeah, it's a step up from his feud with Big Cass, or Big Kaz, as he's now known on the Indies.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with there's nothing wrong with this feud. It's just another thing. It's something that you wouldn't think would be an afterthought, and then you almost have to remind yourself, oh yeah, Daniel Bryan's going to wrestle the Miz at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
Whereas after the Talking Smack thing, that seemed like a WrestleMania match.
Yeah, so maybe that's part of it. Just the not re-signing. They're just going through the motions of getting it out of the way. I watched Miz and Mrs. the first episode. The script, okay, I love the Miz. I love Maurice. I loved everything that was looking at their lives. But this scripted reality of the forced plots they're doing that are like weak sitcom plots, not even from the 80s, like from the 70s. I could not make it through more than one episode.
Yeah, I mean, I can see what you're saying. For me, I found it easy to watch, but yes, it was so obvious those little plots that were scripted. But it was what I said a couple weeks ago. I felt like Maurice sold those a lot better and was a lot more natural in those segments than Miz. Miz definitely seemed like he was acting. I saw part of last night's too, and they had another similar thing where Maurice kept ordering these expensive truffles. They didn't know the price, and it came out to like $600. But
this is where we're at.
It's entertaining. I like it better than Total Bellas and Total Divas because it's more light and just frothy, and it's just on in the background. But I would not be watching it otherwise.
It just seems weird to me that they have like a writer's room of producers that feel like, okay, what can we do for plots? I know he hears nude photo shoot, is supposed to be implied nude photo shoot. He shows up naked, hilarity ensues. Right. Like, I mean, they're not trying very hard.
It's like Three's Company plots. Like we're going back and watching old episodes of Three's Company and, taking old storylines from that and changing it a little bit.
Yeah. Although you can't really have great misunderstanding plots when you only have two main characters. You need more people involved, I think, to really wring some humor out of that situation.
They threw his dad in last week.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. I'm going to try and watch it. Over the weekend, I was catching up, rewatching some Better Call Saul in anticipation of the premiere this week. Started watching that show Succession on HBO, and we tried watching Miz and Mrs. And after one episode, it was like, I've got other stuff.
I totally forgot about Better Call Saul.
Oh, but with that show, I actually think that sometimes is better. I don't know your views on this, but sometimes, especially with the season premieres, like they let that show breathe so much. It's better sometimes to have two in the bank to watch back to back.
Yeah, I mean that's probably what I'll end up doing.
Yeah, but it was good. Yeah. High quality show. So Shinsuke Nakamura versus R-Truth happened, and I think what surprised me about this is this went on for a while for an R-Truth match.
You mean, do you say Miz and R-Truth?
Oh no, Shinsuke and R-Truth.
Yeah, Shinsuke and R-Truth. I mean, it was the same thing with Joe against R-Truth. They're I think they respect him, so they're not doing a total squash, but this was pretty much a squash. I mean, Nakamura was kind of really kicking the crap out of him. Nakamura, I thought, looked really good as a heel here. I thought he did a great job.
Yeah, I thought R-Truth, his entrance was good. Audience popped for that. I thought the match went on for a while. I enjoyed it. I just think he's at the stage of the career where this is what R-Truth is doing now, but Nakamura, it made him look dominant. And Jeff Hardy really looks like a punk in this feud.
Yeah, he hasn't even tried to get any revenge that I can remember.
Yeah. Bludgeon Brothers got a squash match last night. Who was that? They were what were the joke they were?
One guy looked like he was channeling Santino Marella.
Yeah, they were saying was it Taz Jr. with
Yeah. Yeah. I think Taz is taking some shots at Corey Graves, so I'm sure that was a receipt or something.
Yeah. Bludgeon Brothers looked dominant, came out.
Another squash, nothing match.
Yeah, and then the SummerSlam Tag Team Tournament Finals, The Bar versus New Day, figuring out who's going to face the Bludgeon Brothers at SummerSlam. And this went on a long time. I think I had in my mind The Bar was going to win this. So when the false finishes were happening, I was just sort of waiting. But New Day hit the midnight hour on Cesaro and got the win at the very end.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of in the same boat. I realized that the New Day was winning when towards the end when Cesaro had him in the sharpshooter forever. And I was like, oh, they're going to have the New Day win this, and boom. So, I think that the New Day will probably have. I think this match will have a lot more crowd response with the New Day in it than it would have with the Bar.
Yeah.
So, I mean, in that sense, it's probably the right move.
Yeah,
it just sucks seeing the Bar where they're at because they're both so talented and they're not being used.
Yeah, I feel like this just went on a little bit too long with this match last night, but it was good. It was just a very long match.
Yeah.
Guys, see, we talk about it now, but this felt like the longest SmackDown episode in quite some time.
Yeah, it was nothing. I thought it was just there.
Yeah.
And I thought the SmackDown the last couple of weeks had been really good. So I was a little really disappointed with it, especially with how Raw was really nothing either, except for the Paul Heyman promo. And it's weird. So last night before SmackDown, we watched Table for Three, and I finally watched the Elias documentary. Yeah.
That must be where all the great writing has gone in WWE recently.
I'm sure a lot of that is just Elias just winging it.
Oh my God, that lyric, it's 14 days till tomorrow. And I was just like, that's so stupid, yet so believable. Someone would sing that. I was just, there was a lot of brilliance, probably on the, not quite on the level of Spinal Tap, but it was up there. One of the best music mockumentaries that I think I've ever seen.
Yeah. Janelle pointing out in the chat that SmackDown wasn't bad. I didn't say it was bad. It just was nothing. It was just there.
Yeah.
It was an easily missable. It's kind of boring, but it wasn't necessarily bad.
Yeah, this is the reality we're in.
Yeah, if you're a wrestling fan, can just watch wrestling and don't care about storyline advancement and stuff. I thought the show was totally fine.
But is there some? I mean, I guess there are people out there like I just like to watch guys wrestle and women too.
I was, before I had kids and really before I got married, I was kind of like that. I could just watch wrestling all the time, anytime. And now, when you're a lot more picky with your time, you feel kind of cheated when there's nothing happening. Like now, I don't know. I feel like the storylines mean a lot more.
Yeah, for me, you could have a weak wrestling match with a good story, and I'm in. But if I'm just watching for pure wrestling, that's where it's got to be, lots of spots, really interesting storytelling in the ring, something more. But this. SummerSlam, and then Evolution is the next pay-per-view after that.
No, Hell in a Cell.
Oh, that's right. Wow. Oh, it's going to be a long year, Raj.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. We really have no idea where they're going with Hell in a Cell. So
yeah. So what else is going on? The world of wrestling. Dean Ambrose, is he returning soon?
Yep, he's pretty much. It sounds like he's close to being cleared if he's not cleared already. So I'd guess, this whole Drew and Dolph leads to Ambrose coming back with Rollins. I like the suggestion that someone made on Monday about Ambrose turning on Rollins, because I think that'd be it freshened Ambrose up, because he was getting kind of stale there. For he's been stale for a while now, so that's something I think would be good to see.
Yeah, absolutely. No, do you think SummerSlam or the night after?
Maybe SummerSlam, because since they got the match already, I could see. I don't know if I think Rollins losing again would hurt him, but I can almost see McIntyre costing, or no, maybe McIntyre keeps interfering for Ziggler. Ambrose interferes, leads to a Rollins win. That's how I do it.
Yeah. Sam Adonis, banned from a wrestling promotion. That's Corey Graves' brother, correct?
That's Corey Graves' brother, yeah. So yeah, this past weekend, so Sam Adonis, he uses kind of political heat. He's in Mexico. He waves around a Donald Trump flag in Mexico. But this past weekend, he used some homophobic slurs during a Revolution Pro promo. And, I think he realized it afterwards, and he apologized, but Revolution Pro issued a statement that he will not be invited back.
Wow.
So they had shot an angle. It was, it was written, the angle was done for him to come back, but that's not happening now.
I want to back up a second to your little slip of the tongue there. How has no one in the last 20 years ever used the term homophobic to describe like Eminem or a rapper or someone rapper that uses homophobic language in a freestyle? Raj, I think you're onto something.
What do you mean?
You had this little bit of the tongue said homophobic, and I was like, oh, wait a second. I was like, that's kind of brilliant. How has nobody ever used that before? Yeah, you know what I mean? Because in hip hop, especially in freestyles, guys sometimes drop random things, but it's almost subconscious at a certain point. No, but yeah, it is weird that he would use that in a promo and have that. I don't know. I mean, I think aren't there some basic things these days?
Yeah, it should be common sense.
Yeah.
It's a different day. I mean, you should just have common sense with that kind of stuff. But he was doing it in character. So, it's one of those things. You're doing it when people make the comparison that, they do it on TV shows or movies, but wrestling is very different than that. You're doing it in a crowd of people, acting like you're that person. You don't see on a talk show where someone's like, here comes Colby Lopez, who performs as Seth Rollins. They're out there. You're too much of your character that you just need to know better about that. It's fine to get cheap heat. It's fine to get political heat, but you got to know in this day and age what lines there are.
Yeah, it is sort of. It's not. Well, there was a thing recently with the Nazi guy, right? The wrestler that was coming out.
There was a Nazi wrestler in Pennsylvania that was also a school teacher. And then you have, I think his name is Blitzkrieg. And then you have like these kids in the front row that are like cheering for him, like, yeah. So you talk about making wrestling look like it's, in the Stone Age. There you go.
Yeah. I don't know. I think if that's all you got, you don't have much, if that's what you're leaning on.
Yeah. Yeah. If that's the way you're pushing the buttons, you're reaching the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah. But then again, what's that rapper or not rap? Well, I'm saying rapper. What's that wrestler? Was it Kentucky? The one that does like the liberal progressive, or the liberal Democrat comes out with the Hillary Clinton shirt.
Right.
Uses that to get heat there. Yeah. So.
But he's not using racial slurs and stuff. Even that, I still think it's easy and it's not that creative, but it's more comedy than hate. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Hey, I still think the laziest thing is like, shit on the local sports team.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's just really that's all you got at this point. So is the Sam Adonis thing? Is that why Graves was throwing his Twitter tantrum the other night?
It happened that same night. Corey Graves, and then Corey Graves hadn't tweeted since. So, he's criticized social media.
That's what we're saying. He criticized social media. It's like,
if people are directing the anger at him, then I can see that being annoying because he's not his brother. If that's what it was.
We're living in a different world now. Have you gone back, Raj? Have you deleted old tweets?
And a good thing I don't tweet that often.
There you go. Yeah, for me, I think the most controversial thing people will find is, kind of like, oh, The Amazing Spider-Man 2 was enjoyable. And it'd be like, how dare Glenn say that? It's just, random views about media, mostly. I think I've always tried to think, especially when making jokes. That's what gets people in trouble the most, it seems, on Twitter.
Yeah.
Well, and that happened. I mean, it's not in our rundown, but didn't that happen last week where Dillinger and a couple other guys were apologizing about tweets from 5 years ago because they were making jokks on Twitter?
Yeah, there's Ty Dillinger and Cedric Alexander both had made flippant rape tweets 6 years ago.
I'm laughing because just that sentence is just so ridiculous.
Yeah, it's you have a microscope on you when you're on Twitter, and the fact that people can go back 6 years and search for stuff. James, this $1 billion franchise with the Guardians of the Galaxy, changed the director because of old tweets that were supposed to be they were stupid, but they're supposed to be funny. And anyway, that's just be smart.
Yeah, or just at least if you're not going to be smart, at least don't be stupid.
Yeah. So we got some time while we run down the SummerSlam card. Why don't we'll also take some questions from the chat as we're going through.
Absolutely. SummerSlam, Daniel Bryan versus The Miz, 2 years in the making.
If I've got to think, if Daniel Bryan resigns, he's winning. He's been punked every week. Or if they have a good indication that he's going to resign, he's winning. Otherwise, it'll be The Miz.
Yeah. Finn Balor versus Constable Baron Corbin. And did you see the graphic last night? The graphic that said Constable Corbin. That's his billing.
Yeah. CC. So he's now CC. I think Finn's got to win this. Yeah. I mean, Corbin just beat him so clean last time, kicked the crap out of him. And I think that was just to set up his match with Roman this week. And now Finn can get his win back. So
how come, with Corbin doing the little thing, how come Hornswoggle or a little person has not made an appearance impersonating Finn Balor yet? That seems like the WWE's go-to joke. Maybe after the bad experience with the Cass angle, they've decided to stop doing that for now. Well, someone's asked about Nia Jax. She said recently that she was injured, and she's rehabbing an injury. So there's that. Shinsuke versus Jeff Hardy for the SmackDown US title. We anticipate Randy Orton will be added to this match. I would think so. Either way, I see Shinsuke retaining. If Orton's in it, I could see him taking out Hardy and Shinsuke throwing Orton out and getting the pin. But I see Shinsuke retaining. I think Shinsuke, he just needs a good feud. He's won the U.S. title and it's kind of had nothing because Jeff's been, his focus has been more on Randy. So they just need to get a good babyface in there for him. And, if they did the Rusev turn, that would be something. Mm-hmm. If he is, in fact, a babyface. I agree. Cedric Alexander versus Drew Gulak for the Cruiserweight Championship, the Forgotten Championship on Raw. Yeah. I almost think Gulak. I think Cedric should win it, but I could see them going with Gulak just because Cedric's has had it for a while. There's been no real momentum with 205 Live. The crowd responses haven't changed. The matches have been great. Like last night, the main event was awesome, but it just feels like they're treading water. There's just putting on good matches that no one cares about or is watching. Yeah, it's weird. How is that happening still? I mean, NXT, how long was NXT in its current incarnation on before the buzz was, oh my God, everyone needs to watch NXT. They're doing some amazing stuff there. And with 205 Live, people talk about it every week, how great the wrestling is, but it's not catching. Because it's such a small percentage. I think part of it is just moving it before the SmackDown tapings would help when the crowd is more energized.
But the reality also is that the crowd doesn't seem to know who these guys are.
Yeah.
And so even if it's on before, it's hard to get them invested in a match when they don't know who half the wrestlers are. So, I've been saying it forever. It should be combined with NXT. It deepens that roster. You could do 2 hours of NXT instead of 1. And it just gives you more touring options.
Yeah. Carmella versus Becky Lynch versus Charlotte Flair. Do we think Charlotte gets it?
Oh, real quick. Yeah, actually, some people are bringing up the Leo Rush push. And yeah, I could see Cedric holding on and move on to Leo Rush. So I agree with that.
Yeah. SmackDown Women's title. Charlotte, is it time? Is it time for that and start building towards her versus Ronda at WrestleMania 35?
I hope so. I think SmackDown Women's Championship has done nothing since WrestleMania. I think Charlotte winning it and feuding with Becky would be the way to go. I think that's the best thing that they could do with the women's division right now. And then, do this slow push towards a match with Ronda.
So no women's tag division imminent anymore?
It doesn't seem like it, no.
Yeah, it was weird that everyone was talking about that and then nothing.
Well, I mean, Sasha had been teasing it, but it does make it does raise a lot of questions then. Like, do you just have it on Raw? Or do you just have it on SmackDown? Mm-hmm. If you have it on both, you definitely don't have the depth right now on either brand for a tag division. So there's just that, because if you have it on one, they're so into the equality right now with men and women, then it becomes like, well, men have tag titles on each brand, shouldn't women? And speaking of which, someone's asking about Ember Moon, why she wasn't on Raw. Just she's not injured or anything. It's just the slots that they have available. Yeah,
this was not a great week for women on Raw, even with Ronda having the main event. I mean, the Becky Sasha thing wasn't towards the end.
Yeah, but you had Ruby Riott come back.
Sure,
Rousey. That's probably the highest Raw profile match to date for a woman. So I would. True. I think it was a good week.
Just number of segments, though, and how early they were in the show. Remember, a couple weeks ago they were opening the show every week with something, and this time it was more towards the end. But hey, I get it. Brock and Roman.
The end is supposed to be the most important. Well, the last segment is supposed to be the most important.
True.
And it definitely was this week. I mean, it was the most important segment on Raw.
Yeah. Dolph Ziggler versus Seth Rollins for the Intercontinental Championship.
Dolph. I'm going to go with Rollins after Ambrose comes back and thwarts off McIntyre.
Yeah, I can see that.
And maybe you do a turn after that. So Dolph wants helps Rollins win, turns on him, wants the Intercontinental title.
Yeah. Braun Strowman versus Kevin Owens for the Money in the Bank briefcase.
Braun Strowman.
Yeah. And the Bludgeon Brothers versus the New Day for tag team championship on SmackDown.
I hope the New Day. I think the Bludgeon Brothers are kind of out of teams now. I mean, they like to do the heel versus face dynamic, and they're kind of out.
Yeah.
So at least with the New Day, you could do Sanity. You could do the Bar, even though, granted, that's been done to death in the past. But on SmackDown, it's something new. It's been long enough that it's new. So I'm going to go New Day.
And then AJ Styles versus Samoa Joe for the WWE title.
Real quick, someone's in the chat room pointing out, how do you go from an Iron Man match to a regular match? No kidding. Shouldn't the Iron Man match shouldn't the stipulation match be, the last one, the blow off? A regular match being the blow off. I agree with that. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Glenn.
AJ versus Samoa Joe for the WWE Championship.
AJ, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like it to be Samoa Joe. I just think AJ, as a champion, has been fantastic in the ring. I'm trying to think of a great AJ story that we've had his entire run in the WWE. Him and Cena, him and Ambrose, and then I think, yeah. I got nothing else.
And him and Reigns was hot.
Yeah, kinda. But I mean, that was Reigns when Reigns was champion. AJ chasing that was just for one pay-per-view, right? That was Payback.
No, there's a couple pay-per-views, and they had the Club and like AJ reuniting with the Club, turning heel. And then Roman had the Usos, and those matches were awesome. And then I think AJ versus Cena I thought that feud was great.
Yeah, AJ Cena was fantastic. You know what's funny is I was thinking about AJ Reigns. As you're talking about that, I'm like, oh yeah, that was back before I was doing the podcast, so I didn't have to watch every single thing that happened. I literally used to like get Raw a couple days later and just skip around. Be like, well, I can skip past this. I can skip past this. You know,
yeah.
So. Oh, what luxuries.
Yeah, I'd like to see a good feud for AJ and hope maybe Orton, Orton's motivated. I think it's too soon with Orton because he hasn't gotten, done a singles match with Hardy yet. And even with the 3-way, I feel like they got to have that pay-per-view singles match before you go Orton to Styles.
Yeah. How do you think that's going to end?
Orton and Styles?
Yeah.
I could see them doing the title change there.
Yeah, absolutely. Alexa Bliss versus Ronda Rousey. Is Ronda going to get the Raw Women's Championship this time, or are they going to find a way to keep it off her again?
Man, I almost feel like you have to, because then that's like 2. She's had, 3 singles matches. 2 were title shots, and she didn't win the title in either. So I almost feel like you have to win. She has to win the title here.
Or Nia Jax comes back DQ.
Yeah, I mean, she's not losing. Alexa Bliss isn't beating Ronda Rousey by pin or submission, right? So it's just, does she get cheated out of a victory? Like, does she get DQ'd or something? Or does she win the title? I think she wins it. Plus, I think it looks good for WWE to have Ronda Rousey with the belt out doing media and pub and everything.
Yeah, she got that movie coming out.
Mile 22, I think that's out this weekend.
Is it?
I think so.
It's going up against the Meg?
It could be next week. I don't know. Yeah, so they had cut her role quite a bit in that movie. She was originally...
The breakout star of Entourage, the movie, is somehow being cut from Mile 22?
Yeah. Let's see.
Yeah, it's next weekend. Probably to avoid the Meg, which looks like the best film of the entire summer.
What's the Meg?
The giant megalodon shark with Jason Statham. You're a shark movie guy?
Not since Jaws.
Like Deep Blue Sea, The Shallows, Shark Night, which was sharks in a lake.
No, but there was one. There was one where it was kind of realistic. They're on a boating trip.
Open Water.
Yeah, Open Water was good.
That was just depressing. Why would I want to watch that?
But it was realistic.
Yeah, that's too real, man. No, I want it all to be like Jaws.
But I'm sure they'd rather go against the Meg than SummerSlam. But
Mile 22.
But the good thing with this, with all the media that Ronda's doing, she does plug SummerSlam a little bit.
That's true. Absolutely.
It's out on the 17th.
Yeah. Oh, 47 meters down. I forgot about that one. That one was okay. That was with Mandy Moore in a shark cage at the bottom of the ocean. Man, I love shark movies. Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns for the WWE Universal Championship. Is it going to happen, Raj? Is Roman Reigns going to get the title finally?
I do like the build for this match, but I think Lesnar's been fantastic. I think the Heyman-Lesnar, that whole dynamic has been great. I just think it'd be much better if Seth Rollins was in Reigns' spot than and they had kept him strong over the summer and built Rollins into this, and then you could have Reigns turn on Rollins. But being where they are now, I still am looking forward to this, just with the build, because it does raise a lot of questions. Why is Lesnar going to be on Raw the next night? Is Reigns, Lesnar leaving? Will they let Reigns lose again? So all that stuff's interesting. I think the crowd has been more into Reigns lately, but I'm
they're sure paying the fans, though. I mean, come on.
What's that?
They're paying the fans.
They're not paying the fans. They're not paying fans.
Who started that rumor?
I think I saw something on CSR. They were talking about some fan was. I don't know. I got to go back and check it out. But they're not paying fans. That'd be ridiculous. One
of the dumbest WWE rumors, perhaps, of all time.
Yeah. So anyway, I am looking forward to it, but I think the New York crowd is going to crap on this match. I think they're going to crap on Reigns, even though the fans have been giving Reigns a better response than he's had in a while lately. I think they're going to crap on him in New York. I think you got to have Reigns win with the position you have him in. I think you have to. It makes him look so bad to not win at this point.
How many times have we been saying that, though?
I don't think it meant as much as this time, because I don't think we've said that. Yeah, I guess Greatest Royal Rumble it made sense, but they did protect Reigns with that loss. I think here you have to do it. You can have Strowman cash in, but you gotta have Reigns win.
Yeah. If not, he becomes the Becky Lynch of the men's division.
Yeah, it just kills him, and you don't want to kill your most pushed guy in the company like that.
Yeah. This feels like a weak SummerSlam, all things considered.
It's weird because just looking at it on paper, it looks pretty strong. Like if I told you Daniel Bryan versus The Miz, AJ Styles versus Samoa Joe, Lesnar versus Reigns, it's still the most pushed guy versus Lesnar, who's a beast. If I just read those matches to you, you'd be like, hell yeah, that's awesome. But the build to, at least two of those matches hasn't been quite that great.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like Daniel Bryan and The Miz is the only story that I'm really invested in right now.
Yeah. I almost feel like they need a stip added to add a little interest to it, because it just feels like it passed its peak a while ago.
You know what's funny though? I barely know what's happening at TakeOver, and I'm pumped for TakeOver. I'm like, oh, TakeOver's going to be great.
Yeah, TakeOver should be great. It'll be interesting to see if Aleister Black can make it, given his recent injury and yet surgery. But why don't we run down that real quick? I'll just read the card here. So the main event, what we were saying is, this might be a spoiler. I'm a couple of weeks behind, so I don't know if they announced what the main event is.
I think people know. Cover your ears if for some reason you're afraid.
Cover your ears, yeah. It's Tommaso Ciampa defending the NXT title against Aleister Black and Johnny Gargano in a triple threat. And then, so I think my pick is Ciampa. I think he's on a roll. It would be too soon to take the title off of him, although Gargano beating him it'd be a good feel-good story, but I could see Ciampa pinning Black, and then you do the Gargano-Ciampa title match at the next TakeOver.
Yeah. We got that. Velveteen Dream versus EC3.
EC3 has been one that I forget that he's there. He hasn't really been setting the world on fire. I think Velveteen Dream, on the other hand, has. So I think Velveteen Dream.
I think Dream should win everything he ever does.
He's great.
I like it's isn't it weird with him? He's the one I was like, please don't call him up to the main roster. Just please leave him in NXT.
Man, I feel like that with most of the NXT roster. I feel like they're doing so great, and there's so many of them I could see wasted on the main roster that I really wish that with this new Fox deal, if I was WWE, give them NXT for nothing. Put it on FS1, get it more exposure, because then when the TV rights come up again, you make it even somewhat of a hit. That opens a whole new revenue stream.
Yeah,
with the TV rights for that, and you can start. It makes the house shows bigger. You could do a lot more with NXT. Keep Vince's hands off of it, which might be tough if they did get a national TV deal. But oh
yeah, he's gonna try and turn it into what 205 Live was for the first year. Yeah. Undisputed Era versus Mustache Mountain for the tag team titles.
I think Undisputed Era retains.
Yeah,
since they already did the title change once, so I don't see them flipping it back again. So Undisputed Era.
Adam Cole, North American Championship defense against Ricochet. Interesting size mismatch there. This
is the match of the night for me, the one I'm most looking forward to. I think Adam Cole's a superstar. It's just his size limits him with what we've seen on the main roster, but he's got a ton of charisma, ton of the confidence of a top guy. And then Ricochet is Ricochet. He's freaking awesome. I love watching him, wrestle. I think Adam Cole's ready for the main roster. I think it's Ricochet.
Oh, and their height isn't that different. Ricochet's 5'9", Adam Cole's only 6 even. So okay, that's not too bad. But yeah, I think Ricochet should win this. Yeah,
I think Ricochet probably wins here. Maybe they do a rematch. I just think Adam Cole, I think he's ready for the main roster. He's never going to be more than what he is now. So however they use him, it's going to be the same way a year down the line or now. So
I'm actually angry they're doing this again. Shayna Baszler versus Kairi Sane.
Well, what have been your thoughts on Baszler so far?
She's nothing, man. I mean, she's good. She's dominant. She can wrestle, but as a character, it's just, I mean, like Asuka had Mystique as the champion. Shayna has no Mystique. Shayna could badly use some Mystique.
Yeah, I do feel like I don't know. I just feel like I was more into her character before she won the title, and then since winning the title, it's done nothing for me. So for that reason, I find her kind of dull lately. So for that reason, I hope Kairi Sane.
Yeah. You think Shayna goes to the main roster though? I mean, how are they gonna book that?
I don't think she's ready for it. She's one of those that definitely needs more time. And plus, with these title matches, they usually do a return match anyway. So, maybe they flip it again or do something, but I definitely don't think she's ready for the main roster.
Yeah. And Kairi, again, I think Kairi's another one. Please keep her in NXT. I think the main roster, it will be bad. Bad.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh, man. Mae Young Classic's coming up, though.
It's taping tonight and tomorrow.
Wow.
Like Caitlyn was backstage at SmackDown last night. All the, a lot of the new recruits and stuff were at SmackDown. So, yeah, it'll be, they're taping it tonight. They still haven't announced when it's going to air, but the announcers are going to be Renee Young, Beth Phoenix, and Mauro Ranallo.
Oh, on commentary. That's great.
Yeah. So Renee Young getting a shot again. So that'll be awesome.
Yeah, I like Renee on commentary. One story we didn't cover. What's this Hogan NWO thing he's teasing for the same weekend as Evolution?
I don't know. We got photos up from. We've got photos up on the site on Wrestling Inc. Some exclusive photos that someone took at Hogan's Beach shop of Hogan, Nash, and Hall all sporting their NWO gear. Hogan had the black beard, and they were filming something, and they filmed for a couple hours. I was thinking if it's a table for three, it seems weird to do it at Hogan's Beach, but they always could. I mean, it's something they could have filmed, whether it's a table for three or some NWO special, and then they air it the night after, the night of Evolution. So it keeps.
I'm sorry, that just seems so. Right? I mean, that's like talk about just crapping on like the women's moment. Like,
no, it's like they always do a table for three after a pay-per-view.
Yeah, that just seems like counter programming.
Yeah, I think that stuff sells. You look at the success of some like Bischoff's podcast, and right now there's a lot of interest in that. So I think it'll draw different viewers to that event, maybe who might not otherwise watch it.
NWO fans that are okay.
Yeah, don't forget that it's Hulk Hogan, and think about how big it was when he came back. That was a huge news story. So Hogan back on the WWE Network, his first real new special or whatever. That would be. I mean, it'll get a lot of attention for sure, and it'll draw more viewers to that show.
Yeah, well, we'll see. See, I think after the reaction at Extreme Rules online, the WWE, it seems like they backed off a little bit.
Not if they're doing this NWO thing.
Well,
they can't be doing this NWO thing
without,
Vince's approval.
Yeah.
They can't be filming anything because WWE owns the copyright.
And Hogan's got some other stuff upcoming.
And Hogan was backstage at SmackDown yesterday.
He was.
Yeah.
And I learned. I don't think I told you this yet, Raj. So I learned he's shopping a podcast right now.
No, that's not what I heard.
Well, I heard William Morris or his agents are shopping a podcast to the networks.
I heard he was contacted for a podcast, but this is at least what Bischoff recently said that, or it was said on, I don't know, Conrad Thompson said it recently that Hogan's been contacted by a big company about doing a podcast.
Well, I know. So I met with a company who was contacted by Hogan's people shopping the podcast. This network.
I did not know that part. I had heard the other way around, that he had gotten an offer. So, man, there are so many of these podcasts now.
There are.
Can't be complaining. It's kind of ironic since we're doing one right now as we talk about it. But
I mean, I'm amazed just the depth of the landscape. And I think I've also heard through the grapevine, Hogan might be doing an interview on a podcast soon.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so I will make sure Wrestling Inc. gets the details as soon as I'm allowed to divulge something on that.
Sounds good.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens, but yeah, it's a long time between now and the end of October. Although it'll be here before we know it. Wow, August already, Raj. SummerSlam 1 week away.
Yeah.
Cool. Well,
hopefully next week. Hopefully next week they do more.
Hopefully next week they get us interested before. Cool, man. Well, let's wrap for today, and we'll be back here Monday night. Me, Raj, Matt Morgan, talking Monday Night Raw, the go home for SmackDown Live. I'm Glenn Rubenstein, and we'll see you back here on the Wrestling Inc. podcast. Take care.